Welcome back to the Permission Slip podcast. Oh my gosh, you guys, this episode is so special. So what you're about to hear is the talk that I gave at the Highest and Best Me virtual event live with my friend and client, Cassie Parr. So how this came about was just so magical, so divine. So Cassie actually attended the Permission Slip retreat in Tulum 2022, and she came back with so much inspiration, so much passion, so many divine downloads that she knew she needed to put this together. She knew that she needed to be the one to show the world how great life truly could be. That's something that I always talk about, and she did it. So in just a matter of a few short weeks, she put together a group of coaches, speakers, healers, and other influential, inspirational women to come and share the tools and resources and inspiration that you need to get to the next level, to your highest and best you. And the talk that I gave was at the very end. And oh my gosh, it was just so magical, because at one point I realized, Cass, like, you are helping my huge vision that I set up years ago, like, come true at a rapid pace. And that vision was to impact the lives of 100,000 women, to show them that there's a different way to live, a different way to be. They didn't have to live out of default anymore, and they could design a life that they truly loved and that they were obsessed with and in awe of. And she was really helping me do that. So you are in for something special here. So without further ado, here is my talk that Cassie allowed us to republish on the podcast from the Highest and Best Me live event. Welcome to the Permission Slip podcast, where I, empowerment coach, mindset expert, and holistic nutritionist Carmen In, share with you the tools, conversations, and resources you need to write your own permission slip, take massive action, and become obsessed with your own life. Let's get started.
Hi, Carmen.
Hi, Cass. Today has been so magical and so wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. And can we just say, like, you look absolutely stunning. Yeah.
Ooh, I received that.
Oh, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Let's do a quick little intro for anyone that doesn't know Carmen. Carmen is a holistic life coach and a founder of Flow Academy. I know we're going to talk more about that. Carmen is my holistic life coach. She is the person that has brought me along on this journey to this highest and best self that we're all seeking. She's an entrepreneur, a speaker, a podcaster. She has also served as an expert on many outlets, including Fox News, Living Local, lots of podcasts. She has her own podcast and created this amazing community in the social media world, which we will also talk about. I'm going to turn it over to you, Carmen. I am just so thrilled that you're here. I wouldn't be here without you. I wouldn't have all these amazing connections to these women without you. You are a blessing in my life beyond anything I could ever imagine. And I love you.
I love you too. And I received that. Thank you so much. So I was sitting last week thinking about what I was going to talk about today, and God gave me a few little nuggets. So you are going to want to make sure that you have a pen and something to write with, because you're going to want to remember these talking points. This is a cheap, big hotel pen. So just know you don't have to have anything fancy. It doesn't have to be complicated. I like to make things simple, and I collect hotel pens, just so you know. So like Cassie said, hi, I'm Carmen In. I'm a holistic life coach and founder of the Flow Academy. What is that? Well, basically, I teach women to step back from the hustle of the everyday and start living a life that they love, designing their life and becoming in awe of it, and then being an example for everybody else, so we can be the one to show the world how truly great life is. So you're like, okay, sign me up. Where do I sign up for that? We all are here because we want to step into our highest and best. And so we've learned a lot of practices. What a beautiful, beautiful Reiki practice. And go ahead and get that alignment guide because Danielle has more information in there. To start the day, I loved it. It was so fun when Cassie and Bonnie talked about like presence. Our power is in our presence. How do you know if you're being present? Do you know? Like, this is my job really, to like break down things that seem more complicated and make it simple. All you have to do to become more present is tap into as many of your 5 senses as you can. What can you see? What can you touch? What can you smell? What can you taste even, right? Like, see if you can tap in, because anytime you do that, you're getting out of this up here, which we get stuck in often, and we get back into our body. I love that Alyssa talked about you already know. You already know the answer. And that's so important. And I'm going to be interweaving some messages today around that as well. And Megan with her nervous system reset. And if you're still a little confused about, I'm not exactly sure, like, when am I activating my nervous system? What is that like? Let me just share with you how it feels in my body. And so you can see like how it feels in yours. So what I used to do is I used to chronically activate my nervous system. But what does that mean? So I would wake up, and most of the time I'd like snooze, right? And then it was getting up at the last minute. So I was already feeling like I was behind. So you get that feeling like in your chest a little bit, right? And then you keep going throughout the day because you have all of these things to do. So throughout the day, even when you're maybe taking a break, you still feel that anxious energy inside of you, and you're still thinking about the next thing that you have to do, or maybe even considering what you just did and criticizing yourself for it. And you're doing this all day long. So when you get home, there's absolutely nothing left for anybody. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I have no energy. Even though all day it seemed like you had energy and you were like, go, 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 right? That's chronically activating your nervous system. We all do it all the time because society has told us that if it's not fast, fun, or easy, it's not for us. Stillness and slowing down is like a sign of weakness. Asking for help is like a sign of weakness. And we better be able to be independent and do it all. Not true, my friends. Not true at all. And then Cassie said something really important, just to kind of finish my little recap here. She said, we're building evidence. So true. This is what we need to do in order to gain the clarity and confidence that we need in order to have the freedom and design and live the life that is true to us. Is that we need to collect evidence that something different than what we've learned up until this point works. And so we have all this information now, but how are we actually going to use it to step into our highest and best? Well, this little nugget that God gave me was like, okay, let's talk about the 3 prerequisites to stepping in to your highest and best. I was like, this is sounding juicy. Okay, give it to me. Let's talk about it. So number 1 is getting congruent. I'm just going to run through the 3 of them, and then I'm going to break them down for you into small actionable steps that you can actually get curious about in your life. And I know Danielle already said it, but it is worth repeating 5,000 times, is when we are making a change, when we are going for growth, when we are trying something new in our life, we are not a judge. We want to step back from being a judge, and we want to be a witness and step into curiosity. And if we can go through life more curious, being a witness of what's happening, is that for me? Is that not for me? What should I do? Should I go here? Should I go there? Versus being in such judgment of ourselves, that's when we're really going to find the path that's meant for us, that is our highest and best. So the 3 things, the number 1 thing that you need to do before you can step into your highest and best is get congruent. The number 2 is embodying and owning your unique contribution to the world. And when I say that, that sounds really grandiose, right? That could be being the best mom. That could be being the best gardener. That could be doing something amazing like Cassie has done with such an inspiration over the last 30 days to build out this event for all of us, because she's being a light for all of us. And then the 3rd thing is just that, being the light. with emphasis on being. You notice I did not say doing. So let's go ahead and back it up to number one, which is getting congruent, getting clear and in alignment with your values, beliefs, and deepest priorities of this season of your life. So most of us, if you're anything like me, we grow up and we learn that we need to go to school, we need to get the career, we need to stay in that career, we have our family, and we keep adding and adding things onto our plate. And when we continue to add things onto our plate, it continues to add pressure. And when we continue to add pressure, we can no longer see clearly. We can no longer hear the nudges or the God whispers of the direction that we're supposed to be going, because we have absolutely no space, one, to take care of ourselves, but two, to even slow down and listen if there's something new that we're being called to and called up to. And so what's important is to get clear on our deepest priorities, values, and beliefs at this time. So this is where your pen is going to come in handy. And we're going to do a little review of our life, a holistic approach. Now, I'm already getting hot, so I'm going to take this top off. It sort of looks like I'm not wearing a top, but here, proof that the top is on. And I want to say that hearts are my sign, so we got some hearts here going. But okay, now that we've gone over that I am wearing a top, so go back to the pen and your paper. So I'm going to name off areas of your life, and I want you to rate it. 1 being I am so unfulfilled in this area, and 5 being I am very unfulfilled. Okay, here is the caveat. You cannot put a 3. No 3s, okay? Because it's either going to be leaning more towards shitty or leaning more towards really exceptional, right? It's either going to be a 4 or a 2. Okay, so here we go. So go ahead and rate yourself. So write down the word health, and then what is your score? 1 to 5. Again, 1 is the lowest. 5 is like, I am rocking it in the health category. Okay, the next one is finances. The next one is relationships. And this is specifically any relationship outside of your partner or significant other. The next one is career and business. And I have the chat box up, so if you need me to repeat, just pop it in the chat box. The next one is personal growth. And now we're going to swing it around to your partner or significant other. One of my favorite ones for many ambitious go-getters is, how fulfilled are you being with your free time and your hobbies? Do you have any free time or hobbies? And I only say that because for the longest time I had no free time and no hobbies. The next one is your spiritual relationship. And I want to put a big caveat on this is we heard a lot about God, we heard a lot about Christianity. And here's the thing, a spiritual relationship is one that's deep and meaningful for you, that you have cultivated, that you can actually feel and embody, and it looks different for every single person. The next one is your physical environment. I loved how Danielle talked about, is your shit really cluttery? Because guess what? Cluttered environment means cluttered mind, means your thought spirals are going to be out of control, crazy, not good. And then the last one is your opportunity to make a difference or give back. Sometimes we think we have to be like volunteering our time or giving money. This could simply be being a kind person, letting the person in traffic, holding the door for someone. If you're in the elevator, be the one to speak up and talk versus just sitting there and like staring at your phone like most people do. Okay, so now we have our whole list. So now this is the time when you can review this, because like I said, step 1, your first prerequisite to stepping into your highest and best is getting congruent, with your values, beliefs, and deepest priorities in this season of your life. And what a beautiful time that Cassie selected today. First of all, big up to sevens. If you heard that, if you didn't hear that, go back to the beginning when you get the recording and watch it, because that's a powerful number for us today with this full moon energy. But once you look at this, I want you to look at the areas that you scored the best in, the highest. What are you currently doing in those areas to nurture those areas of your life? And what value is tied to that? Maybe even what belief is tied to that. For example, if I was to rate significant other right now, I would proudly give it a 5. And now, was that a 5 years ago? Or 7 years ago? It was not. But the place that we're at now, because I have placed my value, one of my deepest values is that we share a value of love and faith. And because we have that combined value through my belief of I can have an amazing relationship with my significant other, I can rate it a 5 because we're doing the work consistently as a deep priority in my life, which means I might need to say no to some other things to keep this a 5, because right now in this season, that's important to me. And I'll give you an example of how I've done that throughout this year. But when you're looking at your list, what are the areas that are the lowest? Right now, I'd probably rate, again, like I said earlier, free time and hobbies for me the lowest, because I've just gone through a season in my life where it was really full with an opportunity to serve. So hosting a retreat in Tulum, speaking on multiple stages, attending and supporting friends that are doing events. And so I really just wasn't home or around a capacity where I could do much with my free time or my hobbies. But guess what? That's okay. Not everything has to be a 5 all the time, but the ones that should be closest to a 5, should be 4s and 5s, are the ones that you're super valuing right now in your life and you're placing a deep priority on them. So do you see where I'm going with this? So you have a roadmap in front of you of how you can start looking at, okay, where do I need to start making my deepest priority? So my husband Joel and I, we have lived in Miami Beach for about 2 years. And the most heartwarming thing that he did when we moved here, I remember we were, this is going to sound weird, but we were standing in the closet. Yeah, we had a bigger walk-in closet, the first condo that we lived in. And so he just turns me around and he's holding me. And he just looks at me. He's like, now that we're here, I just want you to know that you are my everything. And I'm going to be focusing so much on our relationship. I love you so much. And just told me how much he loved me and how much he was going to be putting in our relationship. And so then my little ego self kicks in, right? So let me back that up. So ego self, what is that? So our ego self is our fear-based self, this identity that we've built up. It's a false identity that is like our daily riding buddy. So our ego self comes from what we've experienced in our life, and we learn ways to seek unconditional love from it. So we all want to be safe, seen, soothed, and secure from growing up as children. And if we learn, oh my gosh, I don't feel safe, or I'm not being seen, we learn ways to cope in order to get that unconditional love, in order to be safe, seen, soothed, and secure. So this could be someone told you you're not good enough. Someone told you that you couldn't do it. You made a mistake and people laughed at you. You didn't get picked for the team. All of these things made us feel less worthy than we actually are, because we're all inherently worthy without any outside acceptance or accolades. But because we started feeling that way, we started building this false identity of how to operate within our world, because we all want to be safe. We all want to be seen. We all want to be accepted. We all want to be true. We all want to be part of something. And oftentimes we're afraid to operate as our highest self without our ego self, because we won't be loved anymore. We won't be accepted. And so we abandon these important parts of ourselves to be part of a group. And so that's what, if I mention like ego self or fear. And the thing is, our ego self and this identity that we've built up for ourselves is not good or bad. Again, we're just being a witness of it. But now we can witness it and be like, ooh, my ego self is kicking in. Do I need you right now? I don't think I need you right now, because I really want to operate from my place, my highest and best, my truth. So in that moment, my immediate thought, my ego self, when Joel was so nice in the closet, going back to that random closet story and telling me all this, was like, well, it's about time, right? Because I'm so good and I've been waiting for you to do this. And yeah, right? Can anybody relate? Okay, so truth though, truth. Let's go to truth now, is that I wasn't always aware. So your ego self is often going to kick in when you're around the people that you love the most. And I wasn't always aware of when I was activating my ego self versus when I was coming from a place of love, my truth and my identity. And so I actually had to do work around that. I had to start cleaning up my side of the street. And about 6 months into us living in Miami, I had to make a commitment. I had to change one of my deepest priorities. And I had to say that above all else, so we have like my spiritual relationship, and then my relationship with Joel, my health, and my opportunity to serve, which is my work and how I show up with my life coaching and Flow Academy and all of that. So what that means and how do you use this now that you have your list of like, okay, where do I want my priorities to be? Because again, I've been doing what Carmen had said, and I just keep building all these things off, and it's time to let some of the things go so I can really focus on what's my deepest priority. One of the things I do is I host retreats and workshops. Last year, I had the opportunity with my podcast to do the Permission Slip podcast tour. It was so great. I planned these events across the country. So we were starting in Oregon and then going to Colorado and Arizona and ending in Miami. And so I had sold tickets for the Oregon and the Colorado. And then someone really close to Joel and his family died in California. And the funeral was going to be the day after my event in Colorado. And so I had a choice. I could have still done my event, even though Joel was flying earlier, and then went afterwards, maybe not making the funeral, but guess what? I would be there to support him because I've already sold these tickets. And I thought about it, went back to my list, went back to what I value, what I truly believe in, what my deepest priorities are in this season. And remember, my relationship with Joel was going to be over my opportunity to serve in my business. And so what I did, and don't worry, that ego self, that girl, like she came back in, but what are people going to think? You've already sold tickets. When are you going to reschedule it for? You don't have space in your calendar to do all of these things. I canceled it and I showed up for him. That meant so much for him, because more powerful than what you say is what you do, and more powerful than what you do is who you be. And in that moment, I was being the support that he needed, that he couldn't actually voice that he needed, but I knew in my heart that that was the right thing to do based on the deepest priorities in my life. And wouldn't it be nice if we could live with a sense of urgency around what is our deepest priorities? Because realistically, most of the shit that we're focusing on each and every day is the shit that doesn't fucking matter. So what are your deepest priorities? Oh, parental advisory, there might be some curse words, but I only use them for impact. I'm not trying to be cool. FYI, I should have said that before. But think about it. We say, oh, this is what's important to me. We say cultivating a spiritual relationship of my own understanding is important to me, but we don't have time for meditation and prayer. We say taking care of our health is important to us, but we let it slip by the wayside when we're doing all this stuff over here for other people, because we got to be the people pleaser, because how else am I going to get my self-worth? Because I'm trying to get accolades from that, because I need an attaboy so I can feel good about myself. Can anybody feel me right now? Yeah, Cassie's hiding in her hair. I can see her. Okay, so I think we've adequately covered. If not, please pop questions in the chat box. Or I know we're taking questions on Facebook too. Getting congruent and aligned with your values, beliefs, and deepest priorities in this season of your life. Actually, important note, Danielle talked about beliefs a little bit. Let me give you this little nugget. So values are something that oftentimes we have for our entire life. Like we value these things, except sometimes, like I just explained, our values, like the different values might go up higher on our priority level. And then the other values, while we still value them and they're still important to us, we might be focusing on other things, right? But now beliefs are the fun part. Beliefs are the catalyst to change and growth. Because you have three options of what you can do with your beliefs. You can hold them, which most of us are holding pretty freaking tight. You can challenge them, or you can change them. And so outside of this, I would really encourage you to think about some of the beliefs that are driving your thought systems and driving your actions. Like just, okay, like high level examples. I'm such a procrastinator. I see that Cassie is such a go-getter. She did this whole event. I wish I could be like that, but I just don't think that I could. Or my brother is so good at taking risks. And when he takes risks, like such magical things happen to him. It seems like he gets all these opportunities. I'm just not a risk taker. So those are beliefs that hold us back. Those are the types of beliefs that you can challenge. And I don't just want you to say, I want to change them. I want you to challenge them. Like, what does that mean to you when you say you're not a risk taker? How would things change? What would be possible for you if you took a risk? What would be possible if you stopped procrastinating? Because really, procrastinating is just that ego identity that you built up in yourself, like keeping you safe. Because when you procrastinate, you don't have to do the big thing that moves the needle, like that's scary. Because on the other side of the big thing is uncertainty. And when we're uncertain, our ego self comes in because it wants to keep us safe. But on the other side of uncertainty is growth, clarity, freedom, confidence, abundance, joy. That's what's on the other side of that. So as we dial in this prerequisite number one of being congruent, is I want you to take some time to think about, what beliefs am I holding to? Which ones am I going to challenge? And after I challenge them, which ones am I actually going to take action on and change? And then you can really drill down on what your deepest priorities are in this season of your life. And let me tell you, you probably can't have like 20 deepest priorities because they're no longer priorities. It's just a list of things to do again, because you're probably serving other people. You're not focused on what's important to you. You know, there is a book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware. And so she was a hospice nurse, and she had so many conversations with people who were dying. And so she accumulated these top 5 regrets of the dying, and I'm going to share them with you because I want to make sure that we don't have these regrets. I want to make sure that we are the one really to show the world like how great life truly is. Her first one is, I wish I had a life, or I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not one that others expected of me. The second one is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Now, we've talked a lot today about slowing down. We've talked a lot today about coming back home to ourselves, having space, having capacity to figure out how to really step into our highest best. And it takes work, yes. But there's 2 different types of work. There's work when you're allowing your ego self and your need to achieve to white knuckle it, to hustle, that feels like that anxiety all day long, and you're just pushing, and you feel like constricted. And then there's work over here where you hear the nudge, you hear the God whisper, and you're like, I'm going this way, and you're walking in faith, even though you can't yet see the end result. And it's still hard work, but you're inspired by it. Cassie is a true testament to that with this event right now, is that it was hard work, but she showed up every single day, inspired to do that and provide this for everyone. And so there's 2 different types of work. I just want to be clear on that. It still takes work. The fourth one is, I wish I would have stayed in touch with my friends. Again, you have to be the one. Like, well, I'm always the one planning everything. Who gives a shit? If you want to see them, if you want to cultivate relationships, sometimes you have to step out and be the one. The next one is, I wish I'd let myself be happier. Sometimes, which I love the light that Cassie and Bonnie, I keep calling my mom Bonnie, which is really strange, but I don't know if you all know that that's my mom, but like they're bringing humor to this. Because guess what? We're being so damn serious all the freaking time, and it is time to like have some fun. So those are the top 5 regrets of the dying as I end with prerequisite number 1. And number 2 is owning and embodying your own unique contribution to the world, which means having the courage to have something to offer. So the main problem that I see when this comes up is we are often in judgment and comparison to other people. We put people way up here on pedestals, and I just want you to know that we are more the same than different. I can stand here and do this only because I was the one that listened to the nudge. I listened to the God whisper, and I started taking aligned action with faith without seeing the end result, with intention and detached from the outcome. And I keep stepping out with my heart, with service, listening, moving forward. That's the only difference. And guess what? If you see something special in me, you can only see it because it's within you too. It's in there. What happens is that ego self, that person told us we couldn't, we weren't good enough, we're too fat, we can't do that, we can't go there, we need another certification. So we put on these layers of armor, so many layers of armor, and build this identity of who we think we're supposed to be. And then we get to this point, we don't even know, like when I left my corporate job, I had a 16-year corporate finance career. When I left my job, I was like, what's my favorite color? I don't even know, maybe black. I wear a black suit every day. Like I had to take off all the armor. If the meditation practice or the breath work was challenging for you, that's because you're really stuck up in your head, and your head and body are disconnected. So we got to get back into your heart. And so the biggest thing that holds us back from stepping into our own unique contribution is judgment and comparison. And so you want to remember, if you can see it in someone else, it's a mirror and it's inside of you. And if jealousy comes up at all, or envy, oftentimes we think of those words as like a negative thing. I want to challenge your thinking there, challenge your belief. And why not just see it as something that you might want to desire? So if you see Cassie and you're like, oh, I wish I could do that, you get a little like twinge of jealousy or envy, sit with it. Is this something I desire? Do I want to build community too? Or maybe do I just want to be like a really big part of her community and help her build it? Like you use it as your inspiration. So that was number 2, was embodying your own unique contribution to the world. And I can't tell you what that is, but if you don't create space and start letting go of some of these things that you've built on over time, like you're not going to have the capacity. One, like if you get the nudge and start listening to it, you're not going to be able to do anything with it. It's going to become overwhelming. Like if you have something that you're passionate about and you realized it and it's there, you have to create the space for it. I am so passionate about nutrition. I actually started my coaching career. I am a certified holistic nutritionist. And at one point when I was living in Oregon, I started a food company, and it was a gluten-free, dairy-free, refined sugar-free, soy-free, ready-to-eat food company. It was amazing because where we lived, there was no access to really good food. And it was like, I thought it was on my heart and it was my mission. And I started it with another woman. And the moment that the other woman left, my ego self kicked in. I can do this all by myself. I don't need anybody else. She can leave. I'll just buy her out. But what it came to be is something I was so passionate about, nutrition and health and helping people get healthy. I got burnt out, because I didn't have the space and the clarity to see, I can't do this by myself. This is not actually a direction that I'm meant to go. But guess what? In this small community I lived in, I sure got accolades because I was providing this service. Oh, look at me, look what I could do. But that wasn't in alignment with my truth and my calling and what I was going towards. So if you don't have the space to understand where you're at, like start creating that for yourself. And then the last one is being the light, which means holding space for transformation, your own and others. And this is the key, simply by your commitment to your own authentic presence. I don't do it like you do it. You don't do it like I do it, or Cassie does it, or Bonnie, or Danielle, or Megan, or anybody. You be the light simply by your commitment to your own unique presence. And it all begins with you having self-integrity, because we can bullshit ourselves all day long. You might have bullshitted yourself on how you were feeling with your fulfillment in your life if you did go back and do it again, because you are the one that can choose. And isn't it time that we stopped BSing ourselves and hold our own selves to a level of responsibility to start fully stepping into our own unique divine gifting and calling, whatever that might be, and start being the light? Because when you're the light, you illuminate someone next to you, even if you're not speaking. And starting now, you have the opportunity to develop the discipline for that is which is true in alignment to you. Now, the word discipline is not sexy, neither is the word rituals or systems, but you need to have discipline, rituals, and systems in order to make this happen in your life. We're all here for a reason, because we've gotten here through pressure, through white knuckling, through pushing. And now it's time to step back and develop this discipline for ourselves. Because no longer do we just have to do the busy work, we can do the important work instead. Even though it's scary over here, yeah, scary and pushing into uncertainty is going to bring us growth. And when you grow, everyone else around you grows. And it's the importance of this room. It's the importance of why I build community. It's the importance of being here. 5 years ago, I wrote down a dream. That dream was to impact the lives of 100,000 women, to show them that there's a different way to live and a different way to be, so that they could design a life that they truly loved, and that they could be the one to create a ripple effect along with me to change the world. Today is a step towards that dream. And I just want to thank Cassie, because she's helping me do that. Today, like, God's allowing us to have part of that dream realized. She's creating a massive ripple effect in the world by showing up and being the one. How powerful is that? Like, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be in her life. So just to recap again, the 3 prerequisites are getting congruent. You have to be congruent with your own values, beliefs, and deepest priorities of the season. The second one is having the courage to step into your own unique gifting, because we all have it. We all have it. And the last one is just to be the light, which just authentically means showing up every day in your own truth and being committed and creating a discipline around doing that each and every day. Because I'll tell you, we're in a time right now in the world, it's going through a really big shift. And I don't know if you can feel it, but as a collective, we're all waking up. Some of us, like Cass, is waking up and taking inspired action. Some of us is waking up and we don't know what the fuck to do. Because when we're awake and if we start taking action, that might mean that we need to have that difficult conversation with our boss. That might mean that we might need to leave a relationship or spend less time with our sister, or we might need to start making changes with our health that seems so freaking scary. Do you hear what I'm saying? And the problem is, once you wake up and you start stepping into your highest and best and you start making your decisions, you want to know the path. And so you ask, now what? And guess what? The now what is never clear. But the feeling inside of you, if you're clear on what you want, is going to keep being your catalyst. Because the other option is just to stay stuck. And I know if you're here in this room, you are not going to stay stuck. You are not going to do that. You are the one you are going to choose to be the example. And even in the face of uncertainty, you are going to be the one to push forward and to walk in full faith and belief, fully aligned with your deepest priorities, your values, your beliefs, and what is so important to you in this season of your life, so you can step out and be the light. And if you've never heard of that before, I just want to remind you that today you have been anointed. You have been anointed with this beautiful divine light, or maybe we've just relit it for you, because now it's your time to be the one to show the world how truly great life can be. And together, we are creating a massive ripple effect in the world. So my last question is just, will you join us?
Bonnie, you might have to take it for a second now.
Okay, everyone on this live or watching the recording, I agree with everything that she just said. I just don't say it in the same words, but is she not a light?
And let me say this. Light. Thank you. I'm cutting off my own mother, but I just want to say, like, if you didn't hear anything else, these two things that she just like popped into my head is there are no unique messages, only unique messengers. So I can say it one way, Bonnie can say it another way, Cassie can say it another way. And if you're like, well, shit, I don't know how I'm going to do all of this, really the overwhelm that you feel every day is not because you have too much to do. It's just that you're not clear on what you want and what your deepest priorities are in this season of your life. So Carmen, you are a unique messenger, and this is your opportunity. This is your season. Okay, I'll stop talking now.
No, that's exactly, when you were talking, that's exactly what I wrote down. It's showing up in our own uniqueness, shining our highest and best light for ourselves and for others. So I agree with everything my daughter just said.
Yes, I second that as well. I just needed a second to pull myself together because I'm sort of coming to the end of the day on this whole thing and realizing that it all came together.
That you made my dream come true, that my prayer has been answered because of this one event. I've been praying this prayer, like, help me cultivate women that can create this ripple effect in the world, and you're doing it. And I have full body chills right now. And I hope everybody can see, like, there's this small aha moment, like when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yes.
And that's what you've done, Cassie, is like, you're still the same amazing person that you've always been, but you started changing the way that you look at things. And now you're looking at things so much differently. Mm-hmm. And it's so beautiful. And I'm so honored to be a part of it.
Well, and I have to say your prayers are really strong, because if you were praying for this to happen and somehow like this happened in the short amount of time, I was told I don't even know how many people told me, like, you won't be able to get it done by that date. I picked the 7th of December, and I picked that I just picked it out because I had a nudge to pick that date. Turns out it's on a full moon and it's this power number 7 and all these things. But
of course that happened. Thank you.
I was told by people that you won't be able to get it done in that amount of time. And I hired a VA to help me, and they said, we can't get it done that quickly. And I said, well, we have to, because that's the day it's going to be on. And then I hired a copywriter, and she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this all together, but she did. And she committed to it and she helped me. And then I got to last week and was like, oh shit, now I got to do it. Like, so all the pieces were like there. And then I was like, and then Anna like drops in like a little angel into the world. And she's like, I'll do it. Like I'm just saying your prayers are really freaking strong. Be careful what you pray for, because these things are happening in real time. And we're all just like, okay, Carmen prayed it.
And you know, Cassie, you talked about the naysayers in our life. I used to surround myself with naysayers that would tell me, you never can do that. You never will. That's too short of a time, whatever. It wasn't that that was the true belief in me. It was what they thought about themselves. I could never see doing such a thing. Like Carmen said, being accountable, discipline, systems, making it happen, working each little step day by day by day. And I care about you, so I don't want you to be disappointed. That never will happen. So, you know, choosing who you surround yourself with, the women that dream bigger, that say, wow, that's a big dream. You can do it. How can I support you? I think it's just really important. And so for me, choosing to be around bright lights helps me continue to shine my light even brighter.
And that's the importance of community. And I love that what you're building here, Cassie, is because I would not be where I'm at today without community. Because there are times, even when I lose a little bit of belief, when I need to be able to borrow belief from someone else to lift myself back up. And many of the women that shared today are those people for me. And you can't do this by yourself. And realistically, your net worth starts, your network is what keeps you going, the network. Because for the longest time, I tried to do it all by myself. And it felt so constricted and so white knuckling and not in alignment. And once I built community and freed myself up to a greater spiritual relationship and started relying on that power that's within us and around us, guiding us, supporting us, opening these invisible doors for all of us, it's all these magical things started happening. But it all starts with having that community and that support.
Well, that support, exactly. And so when you and I originally started working together, and I already talked about this earlier, but I thought I was hiring I knew that everybody I looked up to had a coach, right? I knew that everyone had a coach, but I thought I was hiring you to level up and boss babe and do all this badass stuff. And then what you came in and told me to do was slow the fuck down. And then all of a sudden things started to open up for me. And after we would work a session, we'd do 6 months together or whatever. And then at the end of that, you would gift me something that you knew was for me. You knew I was ready for in that season. And that was breath work. And that was Reiki. And you just kept ripping open the spaces for me to be able to start to see the path, to be able to start to understand how to communicate with the higher power, how to lean into my faith, how to lean into my confidence, all of these things that you continue to shine a light, on this dark path for me to figure out which direction to go. Again, I don't know where this leads right now. I'm still in the work. I'm still on the journey. I just know that I was called to bring people with me. And that was the invitation to everyone today, to get on this train, to start creating space for yourself, to start realizing who you really are, getting in alignment, getting surrounded by the people that love and trust and believe in you, get in these rooms with these people and start living your highest and best life. I just truly know that I was called to bring all of you here, and thank you for being here with me all week long. I just kept saying, I need to be held. I need to be held. Someone hold me. And today I woke up with a peace, and I can tell you every single moment of today, I have felt completely held by all of you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for holding me and holding space for this event. Thank you. I'm oozing gratitude.
Right back at you. I have 2 things that I want to gift to people. The first one is, you had mentioned at the very top of the day that it was so hard to figure out your superpower. So I've created a free quiz for everybody. So I have combined the best of human design, Enneagram, and emotional intelligence into a quiz to figure out your superpower. And you can text me the word superpower at 503-386-2981, and we can do that for free. And then something else I decided is I have this beautiful journal that walks you through a daily journal practice and a weekly practice for creating space in your week. It's called the Be the Light Journal. If you go to my Instagram today at Carmen Oling and you comment the word of how you're feeling right now, I will pick someone 2 days from now, because there might be a couple people watching the recording now, and I'll give away three copies of my journal as well. So,
and the journal is quite amazing. I bought the journal and then I thought, this is too good to keep to myself. So I have bought journals and given them as gifts. And people will get this and they go, is this Carmen's? Yes. And they're just like, oh, thank you. And one person that I gave it as a gift, she goes, thank you so much. I love this. I bought one myself, but Bonnie, I know who I'm going to give this one to. That was Jenny. And she passed it on. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's wonderful. If you don't have one, y'all, get a Be the Light journal.
Yeah. So I just want to say, Cassie, again, thank you for being a part of my prayers being answered, my dream being realized. And from here, like, look at how much more of a ripple effect that we're going to create in the world together with so many more people joining us. So it's truly an honor and a privilege to be part of this. And because of my relationship with you, I am forever changed. And I thank you so much.
I thank you too. I thank you too. I want to encourage people to get connected. We do have some posts in the chat with your superpower phone number to text to, so you can get that quiz. Go to Carmen Oling on Instagram for the journal drawing, but also I also want to invite people, Carmen, with your permission, to the permission slip community. Is that something we can open up for the women on the call?
Yeah, of course. So I have a beautiful community, just the permission slip community that goes along with the permission slip podcast and the permission slip retreat. We have a Facebook group, so I can get you the link and we can send it out to everybody. It's just a beautiful way to stay connected and stay grounded in this work. And when you lose a little belief, you can pop in there. We always send updates for free events that we're doing or ways to join in person, things like this, virtual events. I know I have an event upcoming on the 29th of December for the permission slip community on how to manifest your 2023 goals with ease. And that's going to be super fun. We'll be launching Flow Academy next year. Right now enrollment is closed, but that's really my holistic life coaching program for leaders, entrepreneurs, and coaches who have gotten this far and they just feel like they're stuck. How I mentioned people get stuck because we're just relying and white knuckling it. And I teach them all the tools and resources for themselves to be able to get to the next level and then take all those tools and resources and teach their teams with it. So I would love anybody that feels called to join the community and be a part of it because it is really, really special.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's just a really great place for people to, people that were involved in this conversation today, to go and continue the work. There's going to, I'm going to follow up with everybody as far as getting them connected with all of the speakers. And we've got a nice flow sheet going of the nuggets that we've been pulling out from the day, and that'll go out too. So I'll be connecting with them, but I think if we have a community that's already created, that's already doing this work, that's already setting this foundation, let's pull people in there. Oh, Anna just posted the link to that community. I encourage everybody to go and get connected and stay connected with us as we continue on this journey together.
Yes, because it's not just a one and done type thing. It's a forever thing. Growth happens when you push into uncertainty. And so just joining the community, if you're not like, oh, I'm not sure if this is for me, it sounds good, like hop in there. But it's not one and done. And so you want to stay connected to other women that are doing amazing things that will support you and challenge you if you need to. Like sometimes we just need someone to call us on our own BS when we can't see it, when we have our blinders on. So all that's available for you there.
Awesome. And Carmen, I don't know if you are taking any one-on-one clients right now, but if coaching is an option with you, maybe that's something we could make available as well.
Yes. Yeah. I actually have one spot.
Okay.
So I limit the number of clients that I work with because I give very, very personalized attention to each one of the clients. So I have one spot available. And if someone's interested, they can email me at carmen@carmenolling.com or inquire on my website, or like Danielle said, slide into my DMs,